What's going on, everybody? I'm here with Ryan Sanders, the jump guy. He's the guy who kills it as an athlete, kills it as a coach, and we just want to talk to him about his career and how everything's been. So, Ryan, how you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing great. So
Yep, just staying inside.
yeah, I have been. So let's jump right into it. Let's start with when did you and track and field kind of first come together?
So back in high school, my sophomore year is when I first started track. I actually wasn't actually going out for track to be doing track. I was going out to get faster for football because I did football as a social sport my freshman and sophomore year. But then I ended up sticking with track because I saw one of my good friends high jumping. So I actually started out with the high jump first. And I saw one of my good friends high jumping, went over to try that, and then I've been doing it ever since.
Mm. And so when did you realize, like, okay, track and field is good, I'm enjoying it, and I wanted to start dedicating my time towards track?
Towards track. I think it would have been around my senior year. That's when I started to actually kind of get quote unquote good. Because I didn't do triple jump for at least the first 2 years because my coach wouldn't let me do it because it's such a hard event to do. And then, but during my senior year, that's when I got my the coach that I have now, Coach G. That's when I got in touch with him and started working on it. And then I went to Mount Sac, and then everything else kind of followed after that. But I would say it was my senior years when I started to really get into it.
Mm. So what was your triple jump progression from like the first time you jumped to through high school, your senior year?
So I jumped the first time I actually jumped. I jumped at practice because I was kind of being defiant to my coach. I went down because she was doing high jump and triple jump all the same day, and high jump was on like the top end of the field, and then triple jump was down on the lower end. So I just wanted to go when she was doing something. She had her back turned. I went to go down triple jump, and I triple jumped, and I jumped 40 feet. It might have been 40 feet and some change, but it was like the farthest jump on the team, like by far. And then so I did that, and then I remember my senior year is when I started to really progress. I remember I jumped 42 feet, then 43 feet, then I jumped to 45 feet, and then I think my where was my PR set? It was set at Arcadia my senior year. Jumped 46.8. Yeah, 46.8. And then I made it through CIF, went to Masters. And then I remember being at Masters, all I had to do was jump 46.3. So me being naive, I was like, okay, well, I jumped 46.8. That shouldn't be too bad. So I went out and I obviously didn't make it, So I was crushed. But they were always telling me, "Oh, you did such a great job." I'm not trying to hear that right now. but yeah, that was my progression. So 40 feet, my first time jumping, and then to 46.8 in high school.
So when you decided to go JC route, what were your reasons for Mount Sac versus the traditional way of going to a four-year university?
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's not really a good story, but like I didn't really apply to any like UCs or any other colleges. I just remember getting a letter from Mount Sac, and then I was excited about that because that was like the first letter I got because senior year if you get good your senior year, a lot of schools aren't really going to reach out to you because it's so late into the game. But even with that, that's the good thing about track and field because numbers are numbers. If you jump something or if you run something, the schools will eventually get to you if they want to. But I only got a letter from Mount Sac, so I ended up going to Mount Sac, which is a good route to go, because it's cheaper. You pretty much get the same education as you would if you went to a 4-year, depending on the school. So that was my decision in going to Mount Sac, and it turned out pretty well.
Mm. And then how did you improve and what were your progressions throughout the JC?
JC, my first track meet, I PR'd. I jumped 47.2, 47.1, one of those. And then I think 2 meets later, jumped 48 feet. I remember jumping 48 feet too because it was at Cerritos, very fast track. I love that track. I've heard a lot of people that don't like that track. I don't know why. It's very fast. I like that track. So I was there, jumped 48 feet. And I remember I was the shortest. I'm always the shortest one jumping, usually. But I remember I was the shortest one jumping. Like, oh yeah, man, that guy jumped so far. He was bouncing. I jumped 48 feet, then fast forward a little bit in the season, we're at Riverside. I jumped 49.9. So I remember I PR'd by like almost 2 feet. Jumped 49.9, and then and after that, I don't think I didn't PR anymore after that. But I remember we went up to American River at one of the meets, and I was jumping like 49.8, something like behind the board by like this much. So I was jumping 50 feet. And I remember Coach Chucky from Cerritos, I remember he's like, "Oh, why are you jumping so far from behind the board?" I was like, I was afraid to foul. I probably wasn't afraid to foul. That's just something that came out of my mouth. But that's what happened. And then remember at state, I jumped 49 something, got second place because this one kid who'd been jumping like 47 all year decided he wanted to jump 50 feet on his last jump. So I was like, oh, that's how it goes. But yeah, so that first year, 47 to 49. So quite a big difference. And I feel like a lot of that came from learning the technique, because I felt like I got stronger. We were doing the weight room stuff and stuff like that, and running more, but not as much weight room stuff as I'm doing now, So it's like, so I attribute most of that progression to technique. And then my sophomore year, I remember I opened up at 49.3, and then nothing was really great about that year except for winning the state championship. Jumped, but even that had a little sour to it because I jumped like 47.2 or something like that. So it wasn't even that great of a competition. It was just I was just the best on that day, And then the third year at JC, usually you spend 2 years at JC, but then I had to finish up some classes. So, but luckily I was able to get out because, some people go to the JC and they get stuck in there, but I was able to get out. My third year, I was unattached, still working with Coach G. That's when I jumped 50 feet. I jumped 50 feet and 2 inches. Yeah. So through those 3 years, I picked up about 3 feet.
And so you get to Long Beach State, and what was your senior season like?
Senior season was good. I had a good time. I met a lot of good friends. One of my friends, Willie Alexander, was actually in my wedding. Made good friends that were invited to the wedding that are still friends today. So that's good with that part. Classes were great. The school is a great school. Athletically, I feel like I had a really good year. First meet I had at Long Beach State, PR'd, jumped 15.47, so that's like 50'6", something like that, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
Jumped that, and then ended up going to the MPSF, the indoor conference for all the California schools and stuff like that. Did that. I don't remember anything from that meet, so it must not have been too good. And then I remember the first time I jumped 51 feet, we were at Cal. I jumped 51.3 coming down. I still have the video from it today. I might actually post it one of these days on my page, but it was really good jump. 51.3. Then when I jumped 51.9, we were at USC. So we jumped 51.9 at USC, and that was kind of where I plateaued in my senior season at Long Beach. Won the conference championship at jumped 51.1. Beat Willie. Yes, beat him. I got second in the long jump, jumped 22, 11 3/4. I had been jumping that for so long. I think I jumped that my freshman year in at Mount Sac, and I still hadn't beat that up to that point. But yeah, so 51.9, and then I remember going to Texas for West Regionals, and it was so hot. I had never experienced anything like that, just because I experienced hot because we live in Southern California. It gets pretty hot, but it was hot and humid at the same time. I swear it was like competing in a swamp. I really feel like there was a swamp like next to the track, but didn't do too well there. That's where it's bittersweet. I think my warm-up jumps were farther than my actual jumps in the competition. So but that's how it was. So but I loved the experience. I wish I would have gone there right after Mount Sac, or even I would have applied to go there all 4 years. It was a great experience. The coaching staff was great. The team was great. The atmosphere was great.
Come on, let's go. 5 more. 5, 6, 3 more. Come on.
Every rep counts, Train stronger, recover faster with Compex Muscle Stim.
So moving forward now, where are you at when it comes to training? Where are you at when it comes to post-collegiate? What is that life like for you now?
So post-collegiate, so the life, it's really about being accountable to yourself, you know, because you don't have anybody that's waking you up, telling you, oh, it's time to go to practice. You can easily shirk it off if you wanted to, but you always but I always have the phrase in my head, and I always tell my athletes, you know, it's what you put in during the fall is what is going to directly correlate what happens in the spring, you know. So you really got to make sure you put in that work, and it's a good idea to try to find a group to work with, because I was working with a group this past year before COVID-19 hit us with all its wrath. I was working with a sprint group, because that's what I really need to work on, is my speed. So I was working with a sprint group, and it's working. I ran 10.92, first time running 100, so it was working. But finding a group is good, because then you have people that you can hold accountable and you can be accountable to.
How has the management you've put forth so far paid off? Any improvements in your jumps this year so far, or the previous year after college?
After college, yeah. So after college, 2017. So that was my first year out of college. That's when I jumped. Or I guess actually, no, wait, let me back up. So I jumped 52 feet. I think that was my first year after college. So that might have been 2016. Cause I think my last collegiate season was 15. 16, jumped 52 feet. 17, jumped 53 feet. So it had been working what I've been doing. I was working out with Coach G a lot, so we were doing a lot of the weights, a lot of the running and stuff like that, you know, just to build a good base. Doing that, and then the year I jumped 53 feet, I remember I was working with Coach Moore. He was the sprint coach when I was at Mount Sac, so I was working with him a lot, really getting a good base, and that helps. Contrary to belief, not contrary to belief, contrary to my belief back in the day, the base really helps you a lot. I can be a living testament to that.
What do you envision yourself being and accomplishing throughout your career?
Throughout my career, I want to. My goal this year was to compete in the finals of the Olympic trials. I wanted to do that, and so that's still my goal for next year. And then when we go to 2022, I want to qualify for a national team.
So, what role does height and weight play on to a jumper's long-term success?
I will say for shorter people like myself, speed and power is going to help a lot, you know, because that's how it is. That's how I am, because of course I don't have Christian Taylor's long legs or Will Clay's long legs, so I gotta adapt in that way. But yeah, I mean, just for longevity, it's going to be about taking care of your body. I mean, because you got Nelson still jumping. I don't know how old he is, but he's doing something right, taking care of his body, you know. So
throughout your career so far, what are maybe 2 or 3 things that have had a huge impact on your personal life?
Getting married to my wife. She actually got me, quote unquote, into coaching, I guess at the collegiate level, because I was working at Diamond Ranch. But now that she got me the job at Pomona Pitzer, pretty much, she told me, oh, you should apply for this. And I applied, and then here I am now. So that would be one big thing. That's really, honestly, the biggest thing. Another thing is just building friendships with like elite athletes. That helps a lot too, because you can see what they're doing, whether it's on social media or even just talking to them when you see them. That's a good thing. That gives you a good desire of like that's where I want to be. You know, yeah. That's a good one. And then another one is just wanting to learn as much in my athletic career so I can pass it on during my coaching career, because now my athletic career and my coaching career are kind of overlapping, you know. So just trying to learn as much as I can before I go into full-time coaching.
And so I guess the last question is for the athlete that is finishing up high school right now, or the athlete finishing up junior college, what are some things you should be putting into play for your transition? Like, how do you transition correctly into your next program?
First, you find a program that you think is gonna benefit you. Really, you find the program, and then even not even athletically related, you find a good school, because that's what you're going to school there. Unless you're trying to be the next. Well, let me take that back. Even if you're trying to be the next Olympian, you still gotta get a good education. That's first and foremost over everything. Find a school that's gonna have what you want to major in. Good environment that you can feel yourself flourishing in. Because if you don't have that, then what are you doing? You're going there because then you end up majoring in track and field. That's what you end up doing if you don't find a good place that's gonna help nourish you academically. So you find that first, and then you make sure you get in contact with your event coach and find out what they're talking about. If you can pick up what they're putting down, So if you and the coach get along, philosophy is great, the team is good, then I think everything is good. But really, the most important thing is going to be finding the good school for you academically first, and then everything else after that.
Nice. And I guess now this is the official last question. It's what do you think is the priority or the hierarchy of learning? Is it building a base? Is it the technical piece of it? Is it the mental side of it? Put those in order of what you think kind of is the most important to focus on as an athlete.
Okay. So mental is first. Okay. Mental is first. Because you gotta have the confidence that you're doing this, that you're good at this, that you're doing this, that you want to do this for a reason. You gotta make sure everything's okay with you mentally first before you try to do anything else. Even though you can use this as an escape, you still gotta be good mentally. If you need to do something to help that, if you need to go talk to somebody, there's nothing wrong with that. Don't be embarrassed about that, because that's something that you need to do. You should never be embarrassed about something that you have to do to help yourself. It helps yourself get better. Technique is going to be the next thing for me, because of course, me being a smaller person, my technique has to be pretty much on point for me to be jumping anything near what the elites are jumping. So technique is always going to be second, and then after that comes to the strength and stuff like that, because you don't want to build strength, because then if you build strength, you're just getting faster and stronger, but you have no technique behind that. So even with that, because I think there was a study done that if you can, there's a maximum amount of speed that you could bring down the runway to have a beneficial jump, and if you get faster than that, if you run faster than that, the jump just declines from there. So that's where you would pick up the technique. So it's always technique for me. I'm always doing technique with my kids. Sometimes like twice a week. You can see it on my page. It's always there. And then after that is strength.
I think that's very beneficial information for all athletes to understand that, you've got to mentally be in the right place, then make sure you're understanding and learning, and then apply everything else. So really good. Well, Ryan, I'm going to keep this short and simple, but overall, great talking to you. And I do wish you obviously the best, whether it's coaching, whether it's being a husband, track and field athlete, all that. And I'm wishing to continue seeing a lot of your success online and in person.
Yes, you too.
So,
you too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Okay. And if you have any questions, you can always search up Ryan on his Instagram page at
Next Phase Athletics.
I'm a big fan. I love watching you jump. I feel like you have so much even untapped potential still that's just days away from happening. So I'm excited to watch you jump as soon as possible.
Yes, me too.
All right, Brian, great talking to you, and I'll be talking to you soon.
All right, man. Have a good day.
Okay, you too.